What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Lombardi Sweep. Three of us this week. Luke Reimer and I are back. Trevor Land is back. Janet is dealing with end of semester stuff for school. So she'll be back next week, probably, maybe not. Who knows? If she had to miss a week, this is the week to miss. Not to hype up the show too much, but Packers coming off of a big victory against an irrelevant Seattle Seahawks team, playing an even less relevant New Orleans Saints team this week. Not just that, Packers and Saints play on Monday Night Football. Good thing that wasn't flexed. And because it's Monday, not Sunday, first injury report of the week also has not come out. So we have even less to talk about. But we are going to talk about as much as we can. A little bit about the game if you're watching live. If you're watching after the fact, definitely give your score predictions for Packers Saints. At the moment, I believe we're the heaviest favorites of the weekend. It is a 14.5-point spread, and the over-under, even with the 14.5-point spread, 42.5, so a low-scoring blowout. What an exciting one to end the weekend. Thoughts on the game? So obviously, tale of two halves for Seattle because of the quarterback thing. But the Packers were in control the entire time, right?
Yeah. I mean, they give the ball to Josh Jacobs like 9 times in the first drive. Like that's what everyone's been bitching about for Matt LaFleur to do. Like remember Aaron Jones like the
Mm-hmm.
last 5 years? Like just give the ball to Aaron Jones. It's nice to see, working with Josh Jacobs. Kind of feels like Josh Jacobs can sustain that a little bit more. Just, how style of football, make up the player. Josh Jacobs is a stud. Offensive line has been awesome in the run game as of late. And that's been helping to set up passes. I mean, we're seeing Christian Watson convert on deep shots, which is nice. And we're seeing Jaden Reed getting involved on the Jaden Reed slash Debo Samuel plays, which are awesome, which is awesome to see. It kind of feels like that first half is, I'm not gonna say the Packers ceiling, but that's the top notch Packers offense. And that, I mean, that's what it's gonna have to be in the playoffs. So it was nice to
Mm-hmm.
see it this close to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that could have made the game better is if Matt LaFleur showed he knew how to challenge, which he does not. But
Insane.
it's crazy. Nobody's talking about that or like peppering him about like people are talking about it, but they shouldn't be peppering him about that every week. But beside the point, pass rush came in clutch. I thought they were going to be. I would have picked the Seahawks going into this game. I thought they were going to be in trouble with their secondary against Geno Smith, the way he's been playing, the way the Seahawks have been playing as of late, and they just completely shut the Seahawks down. Like that's to Luke's point, as good as it's going to get. Um, it's going to be interesting to see with this week if there are any distractions. I think they're a little too young to be worried about like the playoff seeding or anything. I don't think it's going to happen, but crazy things can happen on Monday. So we'll see, but it should be an easy one. Should being the operative word.
Yeah, not too worried overall about that. I did get multiple messages from people who are not Packer fans, and it's interesting because they pointed out on their own the exact thing that we've been talking about for a while with Jordan Love. And like last year, I said this was Jordan Love's best play, the best thing he does, and he did a lot in this game. Jordan Love's best play is a underthrown deep ball because it gets penalties over and over, and that was on full display again this game. People messaged me saying how like Jordan Love's mastered that. I'm like, I can promise you it's not intentional, but he does it, and they get penalties called every fucking time. He just underthrows a deep ball and it's pass interference. Let's move the chains. Good to go. So hopefully he can keep that going because it certainly is an absolute weapon in this offense, especially on like third and longs and stuff like that. Josh Jacobs has been terrific. My worry is overuse. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but he had 26 carries in a blowout. I would love to see that limited a little bit, obviously. He has hit 26 carries twice over the past month. Don't like that. This is a game Packers favored by 14.5. Randy in the chat says Packers should destroy the Saints. Fully agree. Let's give Josh Jacobs any incentive mark that he needs to hit. Let's just do right by the player and pay him for those. But let's shut him down. Like, let's just give him 5 to 10 carries this game. Call it a day because we do not need to get him hurt. You want to give him more than that? I don't.
For fantasy football purposes.
Sure. People will be very upset. for fantasy football purposes. But like,
But yes, you're right.
Fine. If we want to like, because that is a real thing, by the way. Like, if we want to think about marketing, think about public perception, stuff like that. First half, let's say he has 80 yards and a touchdown. Can we shut him down?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, like you got double-digit fantasy points.
To be honest,
get him out.
In that same train of thought, you could have shut him down after the first drive last week.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like at halftime or once Geno gets hurt, right? Like we didn't need to keep playing him. Like only bad things can happen at that point, especially when Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks are both running pretty damn well.
And are
healthy and playing well.
Yep.
So I really hope if this game goes as projected and the Packers get up big, I really hope we see those two younger guys mixed in and not just putting Jacobs out there because, again, only bad things can happen this week. Win or lose, irrelevant. Packers aren't winning the NFC North. You know, we can get that out of our mind. It's not going to happen. The best case scenario, if the Packers win out, we might move up one spot in the playoffs. Who cares? Like, it does not matter. If we lose out, we might drop one spot. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Let's just get out of this game healthy, please.
To your point about Trevor, to your point about the run game, with getting Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks involved, must have been 4 or 5, maybe 6, 2 months ago. Chris Brooks kind of got stopped at the 1, and they brought Josh Jacobs in. And LaFleur said there's a time when Chris Brooks' number is going to come. It kind of feels like this game where it kind of feels like a 7 rushes for 40 yards and a touchdown for Chris Brooks, and people are talking about Green Bay's got depth at the running back position, which they do. This kind of feels like a game for it.
When you're scheming it up like they are and blocking as they are up front in running plays, like you can put in anybody you want.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the other two running backs are exceptional talents, but they're being efficient and they're playing well because, like, Seattle was so, like, they just showed their cards to the Packers, and then Matt LaFleur called a good game. Like, the Packers, as they have for much of the season, they just use motion to see what Seattle wants to do, and they ran like a fly motion, and all of a sudden a D-back runs into the box, and you're saying Elton Jenkins gets to block a corner. That's awesome.
Right.
That's all it is. They're playing a numbers game. They're playing smart football, and it's working. The running game is very good. As long as the Packers play with a lead, I think good things will continue to happen. That's awesome.
Well, and not only does this game not really matter for the playoff season? You play the Vikings on a short week next week.
Yeah,
and I know they're going to want to play him.
Yeah,
so
that's a game I want to win.
So if you want to win it, obviously you do. Great. If you think it affects your seeding, great. But like if Jacobs gets 26, carries or 23 or 20 even in this game, and then you want him another 20 against Minnesota, and then Packers are going to want to beat the Bears, so they're probably going to want him 20 there in a game where the Bears are going to be hunted for kneecaps. That's a recipe for disaster. Because guess what? 6 or 7 seed doesn't matter if you don't have Josh Jacobs. It's over anyways. So
not that this has anything to do with the point you said, because I agree with it all. But that Week 18 game, I would love to just see Malik Willis come in and Packers destroy the Bears. That would be incredible end to the regular season.
That would be smart. That'd be super smart. Josh Jacobs has been averaging over 20 carries per game past several games. So let's just say he averages 20 carries per game the last 3, which again, we really hope does not happen. That's 60 carries. That means he finishes the year with over 320 carries. We don't want that. That's not a recipe for success, especially for a running back on his second contract who was overworked on his rookie deal. Like, let's manage the workload. Let's be smart. Understand where we are. We have nothing to gain and everything to lose.
Well, and on top of that, like, let's say the Packers do make a magical run. Okay, so that's 60 carries in the regular season. That's going to be 80 after the wild card. That's going to be 100 after the divisional. That's going to be 120 after the conference. So he's going to go into his Super Bowl with 120 extra carries. Like, that's not good at all.
He got pushed for like 450, 500 carries this year, which
be awesome.
We better have a backup plan next year. Hopefully Marshawn Lloyd is fine.
Yep.
I don't know. We just got to be smart.
Yeah. Moving forward, the young guys like this. I know this point has been beaten into the ground, but this is a team full of young players that like you can't like fuck up anymore. Like this needs to be like the young guys are gonna have to carry this team. I don't mean to make this a dig at Evan Williams, but he did not have a great game against the Seahawks. I was kind of able to be covered up with Sam Howell coming in and just kind of gunslinging, and Edrin Cooper being as awesome as Edrin Cooper is.
Mhm.
But it raises a little level of concern, right? I mean, they're obviously bringing Jair Alexander back really slow, which probably a smart thing, right? I mean, they're winning games without him. So
Yep.
you bring in guys like Keyshawn Nixon, like Carrington Valentine, like Evan Williams. I mean, Javon Bullard's out, so that means that much more for Xavier McKinney, who's all pro, has been a stud. But Edrin Cooper, and then you're mixing all these defensive linemen in, right? You have Lucas Van Ness going, Kingsley and Agbare, all the defensive linemen. Bringing Brenton Cox in, like it's a lot of young. It feels like a lot of responsibility on young guys. But I mean, it's hard to argue with the results that we've seen as a 10-4 team right now. So like it is on the young guys here. Rasul Douglas, Preston Smith out of that defense. We know Rashawn Gary's not the leader that he probably should be. Like Kenny Clark's
Mhm.
going to be the voice, and I love Kenny Clark. He doesn't feel like a really strong voice in that locker room. So I mean, Jeff,
No.
and you add into Jeff Halfley too, who doesn't have a ton of experience this high level coaching in the NFL. It's a little concerned, but they're playing well. So just a point, just an interesting point to bring up.
I mean, this defense still feels a year away. They still are missing talent at pretty key positions. To your point, Evan Williams started the year, no doubt, extremely good. He's looked like a rookie down the stretch here. So
Yeah.
he needs to play better. Quarterback 2 continues to be possibly the biggest weakness on the entire team. So that's going to get exposed with teams who have 2 legitimate weapons, as we have talked about. That's not this week. Saints arguably have 0. Especially with Alvin Kamara out. Not that would have affected the secondary anyway. But we just have to make sure Marquez Valdez-Scantling doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like that's the guy we don't want to go off this week. Who cares? Stop him. We're good to go. But yeah, this defense still needs a little bit of talent. They still need a leader. It's kind of been Jair and McKinney doing that. It's always a little bit weird when it's a D-back. It's never going to be an interior defensive lineman unless their name is Cameron Hayward.
Right.
It just is what it is. But
it'd be great. Miami is still going to release Calais Campbell. If we can pick him up for playoffs, man.
Massive. That would be massive. I can only assume he is a Kansas City Chief, but we shall see. Or a Buffalo. Buffalo has the most to gain by signing him. I don't know if he'll go there. Certainly, I mean, it really feels like Odell Beckham Jr. and Calais Campbell are both straight to Kansas City. Mm-hmm. That's what I would do. But we shall. I mean, he may play guard,
right?
And then he can play tackle.
In all honesty, like probably should go back to the Ravens, but
that would be great too.
Yeah,
Ravens are. I mean, we don't need to get into it too much, but they are the best 5-loss team I've ever seen. So, yeah. Going to be a fun playoff for sure. There's very few good teams. There's even fewer teams who can win a Super Bowl, but it seems like everybody, like there's just a lot of parity. Anybody can beat anybody right now.
Right.
There's so many injuries. There's a lot of teams not playing super well. There's no secret that the Lions are the most beat up team in the NFL. They could be one and done very, very easily. There's a chance they fall all the way to 3rd in the division. I don't think that happens, but you never know.
Right.
It's a fun final 3 weeks of football for sure.
Yeah.
The NFL is licking their chops. And we have football like every single day now for a few weeks, whether it's college or NFL. So we are in a very good time for sports right now. It's great. To talk about this week, though, like I said, first injury report hasn't come out. We will get that out tomorrow. However, Jair practiced in full last week. He didn't play. He's really going to be pushing to play this week. And again, there is no reason to play him in this game. So I'm nervous he plays. If he plays, hopefully he doesn't twist a knee chasing MVS. You know what I mean? So I hope he's out.
We've seen LaFleur do in the past where a guy's come back from injury. You just throw him in there to run for a couple of plays. I wonder if that that might be a situation here.
I hope so. He doesn't need to play a full workload. Then Quay Walker left in the first half last game with an ankle injury. Eric Wilson came in, outplayed him like he always does. He's a better player, but legitimate chance he doesn't play this week either. That limits the depth at the linebacker position, I suppose.
Well, that kind of goes, but just looking at the thing as a whole picture, that kind of goes to a point where there's even more responsibility put on the young players, right? Like someone's got to call the defensive plays. Who is that right now with Quay Walker out?
Calling the plays?
Yeah.
I think it's McKinney.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess everyone's kind of first year in the system, but 25-year-old, first year in Green Bay, it's a little cause for concern.
Yeah, there's definitely some, miscommunication that can happen, and this is a team like you don't want to have miscommunications against bad teams or teams that have nothing to lose or teams that are. I would call the Saints offense very aggressive, and I can only assume they're going to be more so this week. Quarterback Jake Hayner, he's going to rip it. He's just going to let it fly. Definitely a game where the Packers could get 3-4 turnovers, but it could be a game Packers, let up some big plays. So don't want that. MVS obviously is a guy who can disappear behind a defense. We've seen that too many times. And then running back, sounds like Alvin Kamara's out. Everyone's talking about
Kendre
Miller. Obviously, Jamal Williams is going to get the ball a ton this game.
Right.
Again, they have nothing to gain. Jamal's going to play a bunch.
Yep.
And Jamal has played extremely well against the Packers in his career. So if we had to pick one Saint to score a touchdown, I'm going to guess Jamal Williams as a Lambeau lead.
Yep, I'll throw that in there too. And people are going to love it that he did it.
Yeah, people are fine with that.
Yeah.
He's going to be excited and juiced to be back. So is what it is. In terms of keys for the game, again, Packers are 14.5-point favorites. If the Packers don't turn the ball over, they will win this game. That's my only key. Do not turn the ball over. We're good.
Yeah, mine is just run the ball down their fucking throat and step on their throat and like fucking kill them in the first quarter, just like you did to Seattle. Like do the exact same thing to Seattle, what you did, or what you did to Seattle in this game. It's fine. Josh Jacobs 10 touches first drive, love it, and then kind of play it by ear from there. But take the ball, come down the field, score right away.
My key is just don't get penalties. Like obviously don't turn it over, but like field position battle alone, you should be able to win. Like you have a great punter. Just don't make mistakes. Just play the field position game. The Saints are going to make mistakes. You can profit off of that. But if you're, punting from inside your own 20 constantly, giving them a short field, now it becomes more of a dice roll. So just don't get behind the sticks. We don't need holdings on 1st and 10 on a 1-yard run. None of that. Get rid of that. You'll be just fine.
This is a game, again, Packers have been making it a trend. They definitely need to win the toss. They need to take the ball. They need to score first because, well, one, I think, the Saints are way more aggressive than the Packers are. So we're talking an offensive line with Fuaga, with Trevor Penning, with Lucas Patrick. If they get to just run the ball, they're going to run it against the Packers. They'll win. They'll beat that game. They'll beat the Packers defense. I think they're better at the point of attack than the Packers are. And then on the flip side, Saints haven't given up. Like the last time they gave up 23 points was October 27th.
Yeah.
Their defense is playing pretty well. They haven't played the best competition.
They've been playing
defense is playing
kind of shit games where they can hang around at them.
Yeah, and that's because they can run the ball a decent amount, and then their defense is fine. They have some playmakers who are still healthy. They still have Tyrann Mathieu there.
Yeah, Demario Davis.
Demario Davis is a dog in the middle of their defense. He's going to come up. He's one of those guys where it's like, I don't want Josh Jacobs running against him 20 times. So we'll see. We'll see. It's definitely an interesting game. I think it could end up being closer than any fan is more comfortable with.
Yeah. To Trevor's point too, for a shitty game like this, it kind of sucks that it has to be on Monday night and we have a short week for the Vikings moving forward.
Yeah, again, Saints are going to be physical. It's like it's the same thing as after playing the Lions. There's always that Lions letdown this year. Teams play the Lions and they really suck the next week because they're all bruised and they got the shit kicked out of them.
Right.
If the Packers don't get up big on the Saints right away and the Saints are able to run the ball 20, 30 times, Packers are going to be beat up for the Vikings game.
Yeah.
And we don't want that. So hopefully we take the ball, we score right away, get a turnover, score again right away, and then just be smart the rest of the game. Don't commit a turnover. Don't need to do stupid penalties. And don't let Valdez-Scantling get behind you.
Yep.
Deep dive here to your point about like scoring twice. Get on them. Saints have scored over 20 points 3 times this season, and they haven't in their last 5 games. So, I mean, if the Packers score 10 points real quick, it's a game to 21, and you're probably not going to lose that.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
The Saints have scored over 20 points 3 times this season. They haven't in their last 5 games.
Yeah, and I'm 2 of those times came the week 1 and 2.
Yeah. When they were running the ball like badasses. They were just beating the shit out of people. So yeah, I mean, Jake Haener's not a good quarterback, and the Packers pass rush should be able to beat the Saints pass protection.
Yep.
It's just when it's flipped and it's like they get to run the ball. I don't think the Packers are tough enough up front to stop Trevor Penning and Fuaga and Lucas Patrick. They're just more aggressive. They're nastier and they're tougher than a Rashawn Gary, than a Lucas Van Ness, Edgerrin Cooper, etc. And Igbari kind of had his coming out game last game too, by the way. Okay. We don't even need to correct it.
I totally forgot the first 2 weeks they won. I just saw Dallas and assumed they lost. So it's been 5 times. But yes, the 2 times are the first 2 weeks.
They still haven't scored over 20 in the past 5 games, so I don't think.
That's the point that matters.
Yeah, without Derek Carr, without obviously Chris Olave, now they don't have Alvin Kamara. Like, they don't have weapons. So can't make this a game.
Right.
Essentially. Don't make it a game.
Yep.
Do we just want to do score predictions, get out of here?
Yeah, that's fine. I guess I can write off the top here. Like, this is a game. Green Bay is a much better team in this one. I don't disagree with your point that Saints are probably a little bit more physical in the point of attack. I think Packers have much better skill players. I think they have more star power. I'm always cautious to take the like a 14.5 point spread. Right, that feels like a lot of points. I mean, there's a reason it's 14.5 though. I'm taking the 14.5. I'm going Packers 30. New Orleans 13 in this one. I think it's you start with the ball. It's a dominant New Orleans playing from behind the entire game, right in the Packers' hands. So I think it's a dominant victory. To your point, I hope nobody gets injured. But I think this is not a statement, but kind of a Packers team. Like, yeah, this is a good team.
Trevor?
I think I respect their defense a little more. I think it's underrated compared to what people think it is, but I don't think it's good enough. I think the spread does win, though. I'm saying 23-13 Packers.
Okay, I'll go. I think it's going to be a little closer. I think it could be one of those games where at halftime we're like, what the fuck is going on? And then the Packers sort of wake up a little bit. I'll go Packers win 26-13. I think the spread on the Saints side wins, but again, just get up early and then hopefully you're good to go. Yeah. They're not good. Like, to Trevor's point of them not putting up points, we're talking about with Alvin Kamara, they put up 19 against Washington, 14 against the Giants, 14 against the Rams, 35. Okay, so they did put up 20, 35 against the Browns. Okay, we're good at stats, but they still haven't been very good other than the 35, which was a great game by them. Unfortunately, like literally, they don't have any offensive skill position players who started the year there now.
Right.
They're all gone.
Yep.
MVS is their best receiver. He was picked up a month ago.
Mm-hmm. He was picked up to play Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah. It's gross. Chris Olave still has a headache, and Taysom Hill's not even around. Alvin Kamara's not there. Derek Carr's gone. Oh, it's not Haener. It's going to be Spencer Rattler, and he's a douchebag.
Yeah, even better.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Another stat, the Packers are 1-2 on games not played on Sunday. So,
okay. We need a 3-sack game out of Kenny Clark.
And just bury him right into the ground, show his face right into this dirt. Yeah.
Yeah, take the penalty, do whatever you got to do.
Yep.
That would be, I'd love that. Honestly, pick him up and have somebody else come and pile drive. It doesn't matter. No one's going to care. It's Spencer Rattler.
Right.
Do what they did to Vince McMahon. or not Vince McMahon. Jesus, what's his
Jim
name?
McMahon.
The Bears quarterback,
Jim.
Jim McMahon. Yeah,
Jim
not Vince
McMahon?
McMahon.
Yeah.
Jim McMahon.
Well, you could probably
You
do
know
it to
what?
Vince McMahon too.
Well, do what they did to Vince McMahon. Let's accuse this guy of fucking sexual
Yeah.
trafficking. Like let's do
He
all.
probably
of that.
has, to be honest.
No.
It's
He's probably tried. I don't think he has. I don't think he's done anything successful. Yeah.
I've been eating a lot of Panera lately.
Okay. I've been out on Panera since the charged lemonades went away.
Yeah, I know. Me too. But I got back into it. They have an awesome Asian sesame chicken salad or whatever it was. It's great. But they do the French baguette as a side. Incredible. I think that's the best bread.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm
You know
eating
what-
on French baguettes.
You know what you do, Luke? You get a French onion soup. You dip the baguette in there. That really
Yeah.
takes it to the next level.
I do that with the chicken
Too
noodle
much
soup.
French. Oof. I hate the French, so I'm fully against that.
Well, I mean French fries.
I mean,
French fries?
they're fine. Like I'd prefer a different thing. They're not even French. What are we? You think they have French fries in France? They don't even call them that. They call them frites, which is stupid.
Croissant is pretty good bread too. I've been eating some turkey and cheese on croissants lately. That's good.
Yeah. I refuse to believe croissants are French. They are very good. I've been into almond croissants. Have you ever had one of those?
Oh no, but I've been into almonds.
It's so good. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Dunkin's got
sounds
them
good.
now. The
Interesting.
Dunkin' ones aren't like great, but
Yeah.
they're incredible. It's like it's still sweet.
Interesting.
It's
Okay,
not-
I'll have to try it.
It's a banger.
Let's be
It's a
honest,
banger
this-
sleeper hit.
Does Duncan do anything great?
Yes.
Hey, that was my first job, and we made some great sandwiches. I mean, I made some great sandwiches. Professional
If we're
chef.
talking fast food coffee, bang for your buck, Dunkin's number one.
Is that true? I don't drink coffee. Is that true?
Bang for your I'm not paying $8. Fuck that.
True.
Like Dunkin' gives you a shit ton of caffeine for
Yeah.
cheap. That's all I'm looking for. And it tastes
Yeah.
fine.
That's fair.
Yeah. If I go by quality, Caribou's number one.
Okay. Interesting.
Starbucks is, you know.
Almonds. I bought the grocery store out of spicy dill pickle almonds. Bought 5 cans of them. They're so good.
Sounds good. I'm gonna warn you. Okay.
Yep.
Almonds cause kidney stones, so be drinking your water.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So
Don't want that shit.
they also have salt and vinegar almonds, which are not very good. And I'm a salt
You
and
don't
vinegar
like that?
guy. No,
Really?
I
I
think
don't
the
know if
almond
I've had them,
the almond flavor clashes with it too much.
but pickle's fine.
But spicy dill pickle, I love it, and I don't like the salt and vinegar ones.
Seems like they'd be similar.
They're not. It's
Same
it's a
brand?
weird, same brand. It's a weird salt and vinegar. It's not like a salt and vinegar chip. It's the almond. The almond flavor clashes with it too much.
Okay. Have you ever had what are the kinds I got here? They're like soy and wasabi almonds or something.
Yeah, those are good.
Those are so good.
Almonds
Trevor,
are the worst nut out there.
No, that's the best by far.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Cashews are number one, and then it's everything else.
Cashews are great, but almonds an adult nut. Okay. Like when you're younger, you're like cashews and peanuts are the shit, right? But then you get a little older, and then you eat a bunch of almonds and get kidney stones, and then that's when you're an adult.
No, the adult nut is pistachio.
Pistachios are good.
Yeah, they're fine.
They're fancy. Those are like.
Have you ever had
la-di-da.
pistachio ice cream?
I'm not a big fan.
Very
Is that
good.
any good? I've always been scared to try it because I'm like, how does ice cream taste like a nut?
It doesn't. It doesn't
Very
taste like
good.
pistachios at all.
But I guess peanut butter ice cream exists. I don't know.
That tastes like peanut butter. Like pistachio desserts
Yeah.
don't taste like pistachios.
What does it taste like?
It's almost fruity.
It is. I had it once at a resort in Jamaica, and it was weird, but I liked it. So
It's the same kind of thing as I'm talking an almond croissant. It doesn't taste like just almond paste. Like it's almost like if you ever had anything with almond extract, it's the same type of thing with pistachio.
Okay.
I don't get it because like almond milk doesn't taste like I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. It's not that shit. Almond extract's not almond. Pistachio ice cream's not pistachio. It's a gimmick and they're doing something. It's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone who's smart,
You know,
figure it out.
I've also had, before we end here, it's kind of an interesting little bag of treats that I had. Now that we're on the nut trail, it's
Ooh, the nut trail.
buffalo flavored cashews and ranch flavored almonds in the same package. It's very good.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if
Neither
I'd want them both at the
neither
same
ta-
time.
but neither tasted like buffalo or ranch, but there was some kind of flavor that made it work.
Okay.
Wasn't spicy
So-
at all, and there was no ranch flavor at all.
Two wrongs make a right situation.
Yeah, I got really sick after I ate them, but they were good when I was eating them.
Okay. You ate them all? I
Yeah,
assume
ate
at
the whole
once?
bag. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it? I wonder. Is it like drinking beer and lick? Okay, Luke's gone. Okay.
All right, that's a show.
Yeah, that's the show. Okay, so we will be. Oh, okay, Luke just fully exited out. We'll be back
Goodbye.
next week. We'll end it on that. Goodbye.